Hey y'all, it is a very, very rare, rare occasion that I take off my rings because I'm so afraid I'm going to lose them. But I'm sharing with y'all, we've had a lot of requests from people to say, have Paula show me how to make a pie crust. So I'm going to share with y'all Paula's perfect pie crust. To me, it's easy. You do it all with your hands, and I like that. So if you need grab a pencil and a piece of paper, go ahead and do it now because we are fixing to get started. We are using 2.5 cups of an all-purpose flour. Now this is enough for a two crust pie. I'm adding 3 tablespoons of sugar. I think it was 3 tablespoons, yes. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt with a little dark flake in it. I'll get rid of the dark flake. And we're just gonna sift those together. And we've got our butter chilled really good. And so I'm gonna take my 1/4 cup of solid shortening. Now I'm using, there's a little piece of tinfoil on that. That wouldn't be good in a filling. So I'm gonna just break this up. And like I said, this is a butter flavored solid shortening. And we're just gonna mix this up until it's, by the time we get the butter and everything in there, it'll be really crumbly. And we wanna make sure, y'all keep an eye on me because I don't wanna work this crust because it'll get tough on us. To me, I think the best pie crust are made with lard. And you can actually buy lard at your grocery store. But you'd have to be careful because it doesn't necessarily sell real fast. So it can almost get a rancid smell to it. So you can pick up the box and almost kind of smell it. Because like I said, it's not a fast moving item. That, oh gosh, this feels frozen. Lordy mercy. Lordy mercy. All right. All right, I'm using 12 tablespoons, and this is actually 8 tablespoons and 1/2 stick. Let me recheck myself, but I'm positive that it's 8 tablespoons. I've already torn that paper up, so let's look over here. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yes, 8 tablespoons. So I'm gonna need 4 more, which is like 1/2 stick. Okay. So I'm gonna cut this up. And like I said, you want your butter real cold because you don't want it to melt. All right, cut it one more time. This is gonna be a nice buttery pie crust, as you can see. Another 4 tablespoons. That will give us the 12 tablespoons that we need. You know, pies are really kind of a dying art. I remember growing up, you could go in a restaurant, you know, especially the locally owned restaurants, and you could order a fabulous piece of pie. And there is still a place, I think, that's still serving those wonderful homemade pies up in oh gosh. Where do we go on top of that mountain? I can't remember. I know there's a casino, Cherokee, North Carolina. There is a restaurant there that serves wonderful homemade pies. But it's getting harder and harder to find. I think most of the pies that you get in a restaurant now are probably ordered from food purveyors, because pies can be tricky. They can be a lot of work. You know what? I'm gonna have to take this watch off.
I think it's the clasp on your bracelet.
It may be making noise too, but that watch was what I was hearing hard. This is my brother's bracelet that he wore up until he passed away, and I just like to have it on my wrist because I feel like he's never far from me. Okay, so you see I'm just really working this with my hands, my fingers. And we want this, when we get through, we want it to be like a really, like a cornmeal almost. And after I get this mixed up, we're gonna have to put some ice water in it for the liquid. And then we're gonna have to put it in the refrigerator and let it chill for about 30 minutes, because as I work this, that butter's getting softer and softer and softer. So when I get through, it will look like cornmeal. And not to bore y'all, run to the kitchen, get you something to drink. And when you come back, I'll have this stuff looking like a coarse cornmeal. Okay, y'all can see how this looks like a crumbly, kind of coarse cornmeal. Now we're gonna start adding our ice water, and it's important that you add ice water. You can see I have ice in my measuring cup, and we're probably gonna use anywhere between 1/4 and 1/2 cup of ice water. And we're just gonna work that in until we can form a ball. And like I said, we don't want to overwork this, so I'm gonna try to do this pretty quickly. And then it's gonna go in the refrigerator and sit for about 30 minutes. That butter helps it stick together really good. So I've used probably a little bit more than 1/4. Okay, so you can see how easy that was. No mixer, no nothing. All right. So that's pretty dough, y'all. That's a pretty dough. And we got that together pretty quick. And I'm gonna half it and wrap it and put it in the refrigerator. Gonna kind of mash it into a disc, so it will chill a little bit quicker. Should have pulled out my wax paper first. Wax paper or parchment paper. I'm getting pie crust all over. Where is the end of it? There it is. There we go. Sometimes these cutters are not all that great on parchment paper and wax paper. Okay. So you can see we worked that very, very quickly. We didn't work it long after we got the ice water in it. So let me go ahead and get us out another piece of wax paper for the next disc. It's a beautiful pastry, y'all. And it should be like no fail for you. Okay. 30 minutes. And we should be able to roll that out nicely. Cross your fingers. Some people say they don't like making pie crust. They don't turn out. So hopefully this will make you feel differently about a homemade pie crust. And if all else fails, y'all, just make a graham cracker crust. Graham cracker crumbs and butter. And a little sugar. That one never fails. Okay, y'all, here we go. Our pie dough is nice and chilled. So I'm gonna put a little flour down, and you can see I'm using one of my favorite cutting boards that I came out with at all times, of all times, because you see it's got pie crust measurements on it. So it tells you how big you have to roll it. So we're going to about a 10-inch, between a 9 and a 10, y'all. So you're just gonna gently roll it until we get where we're going. We want to just keep adding a little flour because we don't want it to stick to anything. I'm gonna check underneath and make sure. Oh, see, it's kind of wanting to stick again, so I'm gonna put more flour. And I'm gonna lift this side and look over here. And it needs more flour over here too, so there we go. Back to rolling. And you'll just want to go round and round, trying to keep it in a circle. And this is nearly like rolling out dumplings. This is a softer dough, so it actually rolls out pretty good. Okay, now that's more than enough, because we have gone over our 10-inch mark. So I like to do a little bit more. I like to roll it a little bit more than I need to, because I like to have some extra crust so I can fold it under to make us a nice, pretty crust on the rim of our. See, just like that. Just tuck that under. Tuck the extra under. And we're gonna have a nice, pretty. In fact, may have to take some of it off. Okay. So that's very, very pretty. Pretty crust. All right, now I'm gonna show you. If it's not thick enough in places, I got a little extra left, so I would just stick that underneath in the places that it came up a little short.
And this is really old-fashioned deep
This is
Deep
an
pie.
old-fashioned deep dish pie, and the pie pie plate that I'm using, it's old-timey. You know, it's an old one that I had. Like I said, if it's short, just add that extra little crust I had left over. Kind of make it even.
This would be good for a chicken pot pie.
This would be delicious for a chicken pot pie. Yes, Eddie, you are correct. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of ways that you can do this. To me, well, the easiest way is to fork it. And it's probably, I mean, makes it look very homemade, but this is the easiest. See the way I've just forked that around? But to me, I like to do it the way I'm fixing to show you. To me, it just looks a little prettier. And you'll want to make sure you get it pressed down in your pan real good. And depending on what kind of pie you're making, it'll tell you to go ahead and cook off your pie crust. But like if you're making a pecan pie, you would just pour your custard part of your pie straight onto a raw pie shell, because it's going to have to cook. And it might not be a bad idea to brush the bottom of your pie crust with a little egg wash. All right. So this is what I like to do. See the way I'm doing that? Pinch and pull, pinch and pull.
Here. And then you're gonna freeze that, right?
I am gonna freeze this because we're not gonna make a whole pie today. I just wanted to show y'all how to make a crust.
How long can these stay in the freezer?
Oh gosh, I'd say a good while, Teresa. You'll just want to cover it and protect it, you know.
Wrap it up tight.
Wrap it up tight. So this is it, y'all. It's really very, very simple. And the recipe is called Paula's Perfect Pie Crust. So, like I said, I'm not baking a pie today. I just wanted to share with y'all how to make a pie crust. And so I want to give you a couple of tips. If you're needing to bake off your crust first, say if you're gonna make a cream pie, like a chocolate cream pie or coconut cream pie, you'll need to bake your crust off. And before you bake it, you'll want to take you a fork and prick all over your pie crust. And that is to keep from bubbles coming up, because it will, if you don't prick it, a big old bubble could show up in your crust, wanting to ruin your party. So, and I like to put down parchment paper or wax paper and use my pie beads. Pour my pie beads on, and that keeps the bottom of your pie intact. So that's my couple of hints for you as far as baking them off. And I do hope that you'll try your hand at pie crusting, because it's really, really not that complicated. But it sure is easy to run to the grocery store and buy that frozen crust, y'all. But this is almost as easy. So there you go. Paula's perfect pie crust. Happy baking. Hey y'all, it's Paula Deen. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to be alerted when I post a video. Love and best dishes, y'all.